Alrighty, everybody, it is currently Thursday, April 17th, 2025, and today we're talking about baseball. Last week I did have the opportunity to talk about golf a little bit because the Masters was on. Maybe that would have helped me in the algorithm, because that's what I need. That's what I need to make this podcast successful, to make it big time, dude. That's what I need. I need the algorithm. I don't need any discernible talent or skill. I don't need to work harder or develop my, humor or my ability to talk into anything else. I need the algorithm, all right? It's everything around me. It's not me. I don't need to put more effort in, right? I don't need to put more than the barely amount of effort I'm putting in. That's already too much. Writing a page of notes is already way too much effort. How am I not a millionaire? It's my it's my only question I have in my brain is how am I not a millionaire right now? And I'll tell you what else. I said that's my only question, but it's not my only thought. My other thought is that I have to take a shit right now. But it's not. I can tell it's my brain tricking me a little bit. It's like the poop is like it's kind of swimming around in there a little bit. It's marinate. I need to let this shit marinate. It's near the bee hole. It's near the boing hole, the boy hole, the man hole, the poop cutter, the turd cutter, whatever you want to call it. It's near there, the dumper. It's near the hole. It's ready to come out in its like geographic location, but it's not in spirit, you know what I mean? It hasn't been trained up. It hasn't been, readied. Its abilities aren't quite there yet, you know what I mean? It's not got the texture I want on it. It just doesn't. I can feel it in there. I know it's some hard little pebbles. I want a nice smooth log, so I'm going to let it marinate in there a little bit while I talk. But if this thing marinates to the perfect level during the podcast, I'm going to have to leave you guys. Look, because there's nothing better on earth. I've tried several types of drugs. I've jerked off my entire life. We're talking well over half. I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. At least 4,000, 5,000 times in my life, I've jerked off, but nothing beats the satisfaction of just a nice, and just the pleasure, really, the pleasure, because when you jerk off, it's not like a whole body experience, right? Like when you finally jizz, it's not like you might get like a little bit of like some full bodiness, and same if you like smoke weed or get drunk, like you get like a little bit of it, especially, but it's mostly like your head region or your dick, or maybe in like if you drink, you can like kind of get it in your stomach a little bit, like that nice burn, you know what I mean? But just a nice big satisfying shit. That's a full body. That's a full body experience. It's like, and I've even tried shrooms before. That's not really a full, but that's more of an out of body experience, I'd say. So it doesn't really affect your body at all. Weed is the closest. Weed does give you a little bit of like, if you take an edible, and this is like, you have to get right on the cusp of overdosing on edibles to get this feeling, but it feels like your body's like pulsating, and it's not that good of a feeling. It's just like a weird feeling you get when you're stupidly high. But you have to be like right on the cusp of overdosing on an edible. You know what I mean? Like right to the point where you're like, everything's like all the colors are blending together. You wave your hand in front of your face, and it's just like a fat blur. That's where you need to get like a nice full body weed high. But like a shit, you take like a nice long, even like a nice diarrhea. I haven't had a good diarrhea in a while. I've been dropping straight gravel, not even like cement piles. I've been dropping straight up gravel, like deer poops, rabbit poops, sheep poops, shit, like not even like a sheep poop. Because here's the thing about sheep. A lot of people think like sheep and goats, all they have is those little turds. I have sheep. I've grown up on a sheep farm. They can drop a log every night. It's a rare occasion when they do drop a log, but when they do, we're talking like a nice pine cone type of log. They can drop some absolute heat out of there. You think it'd just be like little gravelly rabbit poops, you know what I mean? Like aquarium gravel rabbit poops. No. That's a lot of it. That's a lot of what it is. But every once in a while, they get like a nice, like a pine cone from like a giant extinct tree, like a pine cone from, what is it that called? Like a redwood tree or whatever, a grand sequoia. Every once in a while, you'll get one of those out of a sheep, and you'll be like, all right, who dropped this one? I'm not selling this one. That should be a thing, though. That was definitely a thing, like, on, like, those ancient, like, sheep farmers, like those shepherds they talk about in the Bible and shit that just wandered around, like, the desert for just the entire year. And, like, once a year they would see other people. They were definitely checking out the sheep shits. If they were fucking them, they were definitely, like, this probably happened before the fucking even. Because the fucking is when you get desperate. Because a lot of those shepherds, they had, like, their apprentices, like a nice 14-year-old, like, you know what I mean? Like a nice 14-year-old little boy to help relieve some of the pain of the loneliness out there. So they didn't get right to fucking the sheep. But so they were probably checking out the turds, being like, all right, we got 10,000 sheep or whatever. Each of us has like a few thousand that we're in charge of. Who can get the biggest herd? I feel like you do that before you fuck one of them. And that does give you an insight too. Because depending on who you're probably not fucking a ram because a ram is going to fight back. You can't, you're probably fucking a female sheep. Even in the patriarchy, dude. The patriarchy, even in the sheep world, the human male patriarchy still dominates, even in the sheep world, because you're not fucking a ram. That thing is gonna kick you so fucking hard. Even a female sheep will fuck you up, but she might like it a little bit more, during mating season, because like chick animals, they do get horny. I don't know what it is about human ones, human females, they just don't get horny like that. Like the fucking those baboons and shit. If you've ever been to the zoo and the fucking female baboons are horny, they'll put their ass right up against their glass. You know what I mean? They're trying to get fucked by anything. So I don't know what it is about female humans that makes them not horny ever, and that just proves that humans aren't animals. There's something divine going on up there because the female humans just don't get horny at all. But speaking of female humans, and I might have talked about this a little bit. I've talked about it before for sure, but like, chicks still complaining about the patriarchy it's so fucking funny to me. It's like we have guns now, dude. That even the playing field. The playing field has been even for centuries now. I don't know if you guys like missed something. You guys want it. You want the patriarchy to be, and is the patriarchy even there? I think it's just rich people just being rich and like destroying everyone else. I think that's what it is. They're probably all dudes up there, so maybe that's part of it, but like, do you just want them to be rich women destroying the world? I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want out of it. But like, if the patriarchy is there and the playing field is even, then do something about it. You know what I mean? If there aren't 10 female mass shootings by the end of the year, we're taking your right to vote away. We're taking your right to vote. All right, listen here. We're taking the right to vote. No more baby killing either. All right. If I don't get 10 by the end of the year, I need it by the end of the year. And no more credit cards. How about that? How about we go back to before 1980 or whenever women got the right to open their own bank account by themselves. All right, that's what we're going back to. If I don't get 10 mass shootings or not even mass shootings, I need just like mass killings in general. You can drive your car into a crowd of people, make a homemade bomb, even though you're not gonna be very good at that. It's like, maybe if you can like make an allegory that like the bomb is a sandwich and use that metaphor, maybe you could do it, but I doubt it, but some kind of like 10 good mass. I'm talking good solid ones. I'm not talking about like some bullshit where like a guy like shoots a gun up in the air one time in like a crowd of people and that's considered a mass shooting. I'm talking real fucking like long, stringy, greasy hair going in there with an AR-15. I need that type of mass shooting out of you guys. All right, and I know you hear the words woman and mass killing with a car, and you're like, well, that happens 10 times a day, every day. I'm talking about like on purpose. I'm talking about, on purpose. And no Asians either. And I feel like the women are going to hear this and they're going to take this challenge and they're just going to be like ISIS. Like every time a chick kills like 10 people with a car or whatever they do, which once again happens 10 times a day, and they're just going to be ISIS about it and they're just going to claim it even though it wasn't them. It was like an accident. It was like she was just on her phone, driving with her feet, putting a wig on and doing her makeup and like talking shit about her best friend all at the same time. And she ran into a crowd of 10 people. I'm talking like a real fucking like just a guy that like lost his job and now he hates the Jews. That's what I need out of you guys. I need a woman. Sorry, my Zen was fucking up a little bit. I need a woman that like lost her job and goes like full on like, racist against men, whatever the word for that is. That's what I need. I need like hate symbols like shittily spray painted on the car. I need like a 400-page manifesto written in indecipherable lettering. Even though it's a chick, so it's probably going to be good handwriting anyway. I need but that's what I need, I don't need any like this pussy shit like you go and you have a gun and you get caught and you don't kill anyone. If you get caught with your gun and you're a woman who's committing the mass shooting, you're completing this challenge for the other women, and you get caught with that gun and you don't just start spraying everyone down, get the fuck out of here. All right, if I hear one of those stories, the challenge is instantly over. You need to get that dog in you. All right, I don't care how many fucking security officers stop you and like try to search through your bag. If they do, fucking shoot them. All right, that's what I need. That's what I'll need. And then I'll fucking vote for a female senator. I didn't vote. I've never voted in my life. The only time I've ever voted was there was this guy. and I think it was 8th grade, maybe freshman year of high school, something like that. And he was running for like class president or like vice class president, some shit like that. Which that is weird in high school. Is like how you have one dude like or one chick, because it was always a chick. It was always a chick that won, because she'd just be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be friends with you if you don't vote for me." But so that's how she always won. You know, the men were divided. It was that type of deal where it's like one party was kind of split up and divided. It's like how it's like in France how their elections went. Like the conservatives won because all like the progressives were all divided within different parties. That's why we never had like a dude win class president, because the chicks can unite, and that's how I know they can complete this fucking challenge, by the way. Because when they can fucking unite, like they'll cyberbully like some random like female singer to death online for like, I don't know, wearing like a tie on stage, like wearing a tie that doesn't look good on stage. They'll fucking do that, you know what I mean? And so that's how I know that they can get this challenge done. And it is April right now, and I'm just now leveling the challenge. I'm just now throwing the gauntlet down, and it's kind of mid-April. I'll give you guys until next May. If you can get 10 good ones, I'm talking 10 of like 5 plus, 3 plus. I'll give you 3 plus. If you can get 3 plus 10 times by next May, I'm voting for every female in every election for the rest of my. I'll go out of my way to do it. I'll fucking, you know what I mean? I'll fucking do it, and I'll join the coalition. I'll join, maybe not like fully join the coalition, but like I'll ally. I'll be an ally for the women if you guys can get 10 by next May. And it's not that hard of a challenge, dude. How many times a fucking year does a dude do it? We do 10 a month at least. Easy. You can definitely, if men and women are really equal, and this is also the other part of the test. If men and women are really equal, you can get 10 easily by next May. It's not that tough. Anyone can do it. If you got that dog, and 13-year-old kids are doing it now. It's the new trend. It's the new TikTok trend. They strap a phone to their chest, they grab their AR-15, and they go, they shoot up the school. If I get a Galaxy, I'll go to the kindergarten. If you guys donate enough, I get a $100 donation, I'll go to the kindergarten classroom. That's what they're doing. I'm pretty sure that's what that guy at Uvalde did. He was like, Galaxy? I just got a Galaxy, guys. All right. I'm kicking another door down. I'm pretty sure that's what happened over there. But if you can, I think you guys can get 10 by the next May. Easy. And I give you guys bombs and cars. Just do it. It's not that hard. Just like go on Discord and be like, I'm a lonely woman, and be like, I'm really angry at men. I'm really pissed off at men. And it's because here's another thing about it. Is women are the easier targets in like a match. They just are, right? They run slow as hell. I've never seen a woman like, besides like Olympians. I think female Olympians are the only ones of them that can run. And to be fair, like in America, dudes can't really run either because they're all 400 pounds. But like, you need to get like 3 like dudes, like in shape, not fatty bombatis, 3 good dudes like that. And I'll give a woman like that's kind of in their wheelhouse. If you get like a nurse or something that kills like 100 of her patients or whatever, I'll give that to you guys too. But I'm talking she's got to kill like a nice health, like just a completely outrageous shot. Because a lot of the ones that like the nurses kill, they'll like kill them on like the operating table, or they'll like suffocate a baby to death. You need to get like a big like jack dude that's in good shape. Like he's just there for like an ingrown toenail or whatever. Like if you can get 10 of those guys, I'll give that to you guys too. That's another, because that's a little more in the wheelhouse, you know what I mean? It's a little more sneaky, plays a little more to your guys' advantages. So if you guys can get, enough of them, if we get a good one of those, then I'll do it. But yeah, I've never seen a woman, never been impressed by seeing like an average woman run full. Like every once in a while, you can see a dude, especially like a black dude, and he runs full speed, and you're like, that's an athletic individual. Even like a fat, like I'm kind of a chubby guy. Even when I run, there's like some semblance of athleticism. Not a lot, not barely any at all, but it's still that, it's, you guys can see like the way my legs move, and you're like, all right, he's, it looks like a baby deer, but at least he's got some kind of like form to it. There's some potential there. But every time I see like a woman run, I'm like, how? I didn't even know it was possible for legs to move like that. It looks like their legs are being like pulled forward. Their feet get an inch off the ground at most, But that's what I need. I need at least 10 by the end of the year. It shouldn't be too difficult. It shouldn't. And you guys can do the whole social media thing too. And it's not going to be that hard to like make any like extremists. Just be like, have James Charles or like one of those makeup chicks. What are like those slut podcasts called? Caller Daddy. Have the Caller Daddy. I need to hit up the Caller Daddy chicks. That's how I can radicalize these women into committing mass shootings, mass murders. Mass murders, at least. You know what I mean? And my shit. Speaking of my shit, it's coming back around. I said I'd let it marinate. It's forming in there. I can feel it forming in like a nice. I swear to God, if this is a pebbly one, because I did drop the shit of a lifetime recent, the absolute banger. It went like the whole length of the toilet, one solid log, not too smooth, but not too. It wasn't like a pine coney type. It was a nice smooth log, no kind of curls, no breakage in it. I think maybe the end broke a little bit, but that's the plug. That's like the plug that allows a shit like that to form. It's like the very end, But it was the shit of a lifetime, and so, but I think God saw me get a little too high and mighty off that shit. He was like, I gave him that, and he got too high. He started thinking he was everything, He thought he was the shit. He's not even the fart. If you drop a shit like that, though, you're like, I am genetically superior. Because there is a certain level of genetics that go into it. I have to believe that. But I wonder what the genetics are that, make someone able to drop a giant shit. I am going to go take that shit right now. All right. We are back. I did just drop my shit, and I'll tell you what. I know I was just shitting on my shitting performance, And there's no excuses, right? There's no excuses. My love of the game is definitely still here. I still love the game, but like my performances haven't been great recently. But I just put up like a nice like 20.8 rebound, 7 assist game. Nothing crazy. I'm not gonna win the MVP, but I just put up a pretty solid fucking game there. There was a few like little rabbit turds, and I was looking at it, and I could feel it coming out, and I was like, oh no, is the game gone? Do I still have it in me? Is the game gone? I still have that love of the game, but have I lost my abilities? Am I still going to be able to perform at the MVP level I historically have? But I went in there, and I felt it coming out, and I was like, God damn it, this isn't any good. I can feel it. It's like you're taking the swing at the ball, and you're like, this is a fucking knuckleball. I'm not going to be able to hit it. I've lost my skill. I don't have that form anymore. My form's gone. The athleticism is slipping a little bit. I might. Maybe if I do steroids, I can get another couple good seasons, get another like 2-3 year contract, and be all right and get out of the game. But what I just put up it gave me hope. It wasn't exactly a great performance, but it gave me hope. It gave me the hope that I can reach that level once again because, like I said, there was a few little rabbit turds. I could feel it. I could feel them on the way out. At this point, like I said, I still have that love of the game in me, and I've been playing the game for so long, and I've put up a few crazy like. We're talking 70-point performances, and I'm talking 70 points in like the modern era. Putting up that type of performance. I've done it a few times before, a number of times, at least, 10 times. I've at least had 10 70-point games. I put up some crazy shits, but the one that just came out of me, and I got up from the toilet, and it was a no wiper, and that's the strongest point of my game. I'd say is the fact that I do have a pretty regular no wipe performance. That's the strongest part of my game. So I got up, I was like, no wiper, all right, classic move by me. And I got up and I looked at the shit, and there was a nice fucking, it had potential there. It had the potential. Maybe if I could have held it in a few more days, it could have been a really great shit. But it was coming out when it was coming out, I didn't want to tear my ACL or whatever. I didn't want to wait and then like overextend myself, tear my ACL, tear my hamstring, and then I have to shit in a colostomy bag, But the thing that just came out of me, it was like a shillelagh, like one of like those Irish clubs. That's what it looked like to me. It was like an ancient, like an Indian war club type of thing. It was a little bit curved at the end, but it was the potential was definitely there. The potential was there, and so I'm glad about that. I was scared. I was scared the game had gone. I was scared the game had left me behind, but fortunately, by the grace of God, it hasn't. And you can say a lot of things about me. You can call me racist. You can call me a moron. You can call me a person that's barely able to form or articulate a thought. You can call me a lot of things. You can call me a virgin, short, fat, ugly, not athletic, a loser, a procrastinator, one of the biggest pieces of shit on earth. You can call me all that, and those would be fair. But there's one thing you can't call me. You can call me annoying as well, hateful, just a true bigot. You could call me all that. But there's one thing you cannot call me, and that's an inefficient shitter. It's crazy. I've always, when I was younger, I wasn't the greatest shitter. I wasn't, I was constipated constantly somehow. I don't I don't know how that happened. Maybe it was like the constant diet of just whatever shitty food my parents were feeding me, just like hot sauce. I quickly, if I don't have like a gallon of hot sauce on my food, I can't shit. I'm basically like an Indian like that. Like, you know what I mean? I need that spiciness to be able to shit. But I wasn't the greatest shitter growing up, but I think now I've really come into my own as a shitter. I've put up some great performances multiple time great performances, I wouldn't say all time great, but like for this era, for the era that's going on right now, I think the game is gone for a lot of people. It's like baseball, which is today's topic. It's the youth isn't enjoying it as much as they used to. A lot of the best players in the game are older guys. So, but I'm glad. I'm a young up and comer. Putting up some good numbers. Still in college right now. I'm still, maybe I'll get an NIL deal eventually, but nothing crazy. But I think I'm one of those guys that has a true love for the game, that doesn't really exist with a lot of people anymore. And so I'm glad that I just put up. Because, by the way, this is how efficient this shit was. So my like computer that I'm recording on right now, it usually like the screen, it goes dark and then it like fully turns off after like 5 minutes or whatever. By the time I got back, it was still just as bright as when I left it. So it was a pretty good one, pretty fast, pretty solid. And like those, when you drop like a long shit like that, like the full length of the toilet ones that I've dropped a few times, nothing. Like I said, I'm not gonna like toot my own horn. I'm not gonna get too big for my britches. I know that God sent down that message to me. He sent down whatever angel is in charge of how people shit. He sent down that guy and he put me in my place a little bit. But it was a good one. It was a good, solid one. It's the love of the game is still there. The potential, the athletic potential, the genetics, the skill. It's all still there because it does take skill. That's what people don't realize. Like if you can't open your sphincter and keep it at a consistent size, you're gonna end up breaking it. Because a lot of people do have that raw, natural talent where they can just shit like gallons of shit. I'm talking bucketfuls at a time, just like an oil well in Texas or whatever. They can drop that. But they don't have that control that I have where I can just keep my ass like a consistent size throughout the whole time to keep it, I don't know why I'm coughing. I don't know. But maybe this is my Arthur Morgan moment. I was running wild. I was in the Wild West of dropping shits, and now I got tuberculosis. I'm going to die, Dutch. I'm dying. I need to be a good man. But I need to start appreciating my shits a little more is maybe what I'm taking from that, because I could die any day now. From the way that cough went, I could die any day now. But, I do have that ability, the natural talent. I have it all. And so I think I could. I don't have like the girth. A lot of people, and that's a part of my game I got to work on a little bit. And I am at a disadvantage here in terms of like genetics and athletics and shit like that, in the sense that the hole isn't a very wide one. I got a small hole. I don't know if that's like a gay thing, like if you get fucked in the butt a lot, or if it's just some people naturally got a bigger one than others. I'm sure that's part of it, but I imagine all holes are like like I'm pretty sure like a Shaq shit. The volume is probably greater, but like the girth is it's around similar to like most, smaller people's in terms of like the girth that it can get to, right? Because your butt has to be like a certain tightness to keep all the shit in. And so I'm sure there's some kind of genetic advantage there. And that is like the thing that people don't talk about with trans athletes is that these male to female, these M to F transes are probably clogging up those female toilets, but women tear bathrooms up. It's insane. It's a fucking hate crime what women do to bathrooms. That's probably why the patriarchy has persisted for so long. And that's why like everyone like thinks like women are inherently better than it. No, they just like take out their anger in like the bathrooms. They just destroy them. Like men, they'll kill and they'll rape a chick, or they'll like beat a dog to death or whatever, or they'll beat another dude to death. Like that's how they get their anger out. Women get their anger out in the bathroom. They just destroy those things. Like every janitor ever would tell you that. They destroy bathrooms. But no, that was a solid performance by me. Nothing great, but the game is still there. I'm glad to see that. I'm like Tiger Woods right now. People thought that DUI would fuck me up, or like me fucking that waitress, making her take her tampon out, which is crazy. People don't talk about that enough. Like, how horny was Tiger Woods? First of all, he was fucking a waitress from Perkins. I've been to Perkins like once in my life, and my grandpa, he went to a Perkins once, and there was a hostage situation at a Perkins when he was, I don't know, I think it was like the early 2000s. This story is so fucking funny. I don't know how I was like, this was my 21st, or not my 21st birthday, but like my 21st birthday, like dinner. Like I spent my 21st birthday alone because I'm a gigantic loser, and that's why I have a podcast. But at my 21st birthday dinner, my grandpa was like telling me we were talking about like Perkins for some reason, or like, yeah, I think we were just talking about Perkins. We weren't talking about hostage situations or whatever. He was like, yeah, I was in a hostage situation at a Perkins one time. And I guess this is what happened, and his wife was there too, and he was telling this story. I guess this guy, like, he saw his ex-girlfriend at a Perkins or something, and I don't know what's going on, because I feel like Perkins is like the most tame restaurant in the world. It's just like a very classic, like, pies, not a lot of black people there. Like, when Tiger Woods fucked that Perkins waitress, he was probably the only black dude in that Perkins. But it's like apple pie, fucking, you know what I mean? Like classic, like diner shit. But I guess this guy he saw his ex-girlfriend at a Perkins, and he just decided to like hold people hostage in there. And he like started freaking out. And he like, I think he pulled out a gun, and he was like, everyone get on the ground right now. And my grandpa and his wife, he just like grabbed his wife, and he was like, we're fucking out of here, dude. And so they just, the funniest shit ever. This guy's like trying to take hostages so he can get like the most mid pussy ever from his ex-girlfriend. And my grandpa just left. He was just like, yeah, no, fuck this, I'm out of here. And he was like, we were on the news, and we got like a tape of it. We recorded like our interview on the news from the hostage situation, and I don't know what he told the reporter, because he wasn't in there when like the hostage situation was happening. He just left. He was just like, no, I'm not doing this. And we kind of lost that a little bit. Like everyone now, like these bank robbers and shit, like they want hostages, and they're getting hostages. They don't have any like old dudes anymore that like that boomer, just like that, the fucking like the ethos that the boomers have. It's just, I'm the most important person in the world. I control everything around me. Fuck this. Right? Like they don't have that anymore. They have like these Gen Z people that are like, he's mentally ill, guys. All right. He's mentally ill. They don't have any dudes like my grandpa that are just like, fucking psycho, I'm out of here. What the fuck does he think he's doing? Taking a fucking restaurant? No, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this bull crap. I'm out of here. He's got a gun. I'm not scared of him. I'm just going to leave. What the fuck does he think he's doing? You know, they don't have anything like that. Like these Gen Z people will be like, I have to, sir, sir or ma'am, I don't know what, I have to go to, no, you can't do that in a hostage situation. You have to be like, dude, can you shut the fuck up? Like these hostage negotiators, I've never seen it like in person, but like everything I've gleaned from it is it's not a profession that takes a lot of skill. I think it's like, I think they're all like Nepo babies or something like that. Like all these hostage negotiators are just like Nepo babies that are like, they just get the job because their dad is like the head of the CIA or whatever. Because like I've seen a number of Waco documentaries. I don't know if they didn't have hostage negotiators at Ruby Ridge, but at Waco they definitely did. And they did nothing like the entire time. They got like 10 people out just because the dude was like, yeah, I guess you can, if you guys want to leave, you can, I'm not going to force you. He didn't even have hostages like that. He was just like, fuck it, if you guys want to leave, you can leave. I don't care that much. Like he was an insane guy. Like a truly like a high level, high functioning, but like super insane guy. And so I don't think he was interested in hostages. And he was also able to keep a lot of people there because they were, I don't know, thought if they left the apocalypse was going to happen. I don't know what they were thinking. But, I mean, Tiger Woods was a fucking animal, dude. A fucking animal. That guy fucked a Perkins waitress while she was on her period. And a waitress period is not like a normal period. I feel like waitresses just like something about them. The fact that they're tough bitches usually. Not anymore. Not nowadays. They're like pussies that wear like apron. They dress like chefs for some reason. Like a lot of these waiters and shit, they dress like chefs and they come. It's both. They wear like you're a fucking waitress. Why do you need to wear an apron? You're not fucking You're not cooking anything. So I can hold my notepad. You ever heard of pockets, dumbass? But like, I feel like a waitress has got like a heavy flow, and Tiger Woods is just like, take out your fucking tampon. I'm gonna fuck you now. And like TMZ got the tampon, and they were like, there's some Tiger Woods. This is Tiger jizz on there. You can see the greatness in this jizz on this tampon in the road here. But Tiger Woods, that guy is so fucking funny. I saw this video. It's like the video of his DUI or whatever, like the dash cam footage. And the officers, like, they're doing the field sobriety test, and they're like, all right, sir. I think that they know it's Tiger. I think it happened, like, around at, like, Augusta, like, where they play the majors or some shit like that. But they definitely knew who this was. Like, a racist cop. The only the only black person they like is Tiger Woods, and I don't even know if that counts. But he was, like, telling Tiger, like, the rules for the sobriety test, and they were on, like, the alphabet portion of it. And they were like, you need to say the alphabet 4 words in a non-sing-song manner, so not like A, B, C, D, like A, B, C, D, like that. And, and he tells Tiger Woods this. He's like, all right, I need you to do this for me. He's like, what did I just ask you to do? And Tiger goes, not sing the national anthem backwards. He's like, don't sing the national anthem backwards. He just... Oh, dude, it was so... And they showed the rest of the field sobriety test, and he was just like... They were giving him every chance. They did not want to arrest this dude. Like a racist fucking cop. They love Tiger Woods. Racists, I would say racists love Tiger Woods more than they love like other white golfers. I just something about him. They're like, maybe it's to like be like, no, I'm not racist. I like Tiger Woods. Which, by the way, Tiger Woods is a very, very white name. It sounds like a name like a white trash dude would give his kid. Like, this is my son Tiger. You know, he popped out his mama. His mama she was a few days in on a meth bender, and she couldn't put the name on the birth certificate, so I just went with Tiger. She couldn't even get an epidural or no painkillers or anything. She was still high on meth, so I just, she passed out. She was giving birth to him, couldn't write his name down on the certificate, so I just named him Tiger. You know, I do think Tiger Woods is Asian. And so or like half Asian or some shit like that. So that was definitely like, I don't know if his mom or his dad is Asian. His dad is definitely black because he like used to beat the shit out of him and make him play golf all day, which is a very black thing to do. Like, that's how like the Jacksons became so famous. Like, the argument as to whether Michael Jackson is like white or black or whatever, I do think I officially like, whenever he became a pedophile in my mind is when like... So when Michael Jackson became officially white, he officially like transferred over his cultural identity completely and started molesting kids. Like, that's when Michael Jackson became white, in my opinion. But like, you don't get to like that level of skill and just like a complete numbness to the world without like a black dad that just beats the shit out of you constantly. Like, that's what you need, and that's what Tiger Woods had. And that's why he was getting drunk, and she was like, "Oh, fucking beat me with a belt. You're still not proud of me." And also that Asianness, that. It could have been an Asian dad because they'll be like, no, you need to do this now. And they'll fucking beat the shit out of you with like a piece of like elephant hide or something like that. So it could have been his Asian dad, but I feel like it was an Asian mom. Because as an Asian dad, he would have made him become like a fucking engineer or like a, some shit like that. But a black dad will be like, no, you're a golfer. I'm going to make you a golfer. Only black people at this club. You're going to be a golfer, son. Just beat the shit out of him until he became the best. And that is another thing that we've lost. Like, all these athletes now, a lot of them are like their dads were players in the league or whatever, or some shit like that, or like from like the time they were a little kid, they've been in camps and shit like that. Like, we don't have any more fucking dogs like that, just like some broke fucking black dude who's like, the only way we're making it out of this situation, there's only one way out of this situation. I have to beat the shit out of my kid until he's great, and we've lost that. All their dads are like, all right, I'm going to send you a private coach, and you're going to become the most skilled player in the league. No, I need a fucking psychopath with a belt and a dream, just forming this like innocent child into a monster. That's what I like. That's probably what happened to Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady, his dad definitely beat the shit out of him and just turned him into the absolute animal he is today. And that's what we need. That's what we've lost. That's what all these sports have lost. Is just a dude that the second his son comes out of the womb, he's like, I don't care if my son is 5'7". He's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever exist, and I'm going to beat him into that. I'm going to beat the shit out of him until he's the greatest of all time. That's what we've lost. That's what the game has lost. And that's what the shitting game has lost. That's why no one's posting their shits anymore on the internet. I'm the only one doing it. I'm the only one posting my 18-inch logs on the internet because I got that dog in me. When I was born, my dad started immediately feeding me fiber. I'd suck on the titty milk, and my dad would put a spoonful of fiber down my throat and be like, he's going to be the greatest shit that ever lived. All right, I'm going to be damn sure of that. All right. And I just got that dog in me. He beat me with a belt. got me a training potty when I was 1 year old. I couldn't even walk yet, and he got me a training potty. And every time, he's like, "Don't break it, god damn it!" Like, while I was shitting, he'd pick me up from the toilet, spank my bare ass. "Get back in there. Get back on that turlet. Get back that turlet. Get on that turlet and give me a log, all right? A man's log. Not none of this childish shit. I need a man's log on that turlet." Why is this podcast not successful? Talking about turlets and shitting for at least 20 minutes. We did have a nice hostage story in there. Hostage? I don't know why I can't say hostage. I don't have like an accent like that. And that's a thing I noticed today. Like this dude in one of my classes, we had to like dissect a fish, and he was like, "Yo, do you want to be my partner today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be your partner." And like while we were preparing, like before you dissect the fish, you have to like read like a manual to like learn how to dissect it and like learn like the where the stomach is and like the intestines and like the liver and like its organs and shit. Like I don't know, while I was talking to him and we were talking about fishing, I gained like a full country accent. I was like, "Yeah, when we go fishing down there, we get catfish. You know, I'm down from Kansas way. I don't know how it goes up here in Minnesota, but you know, we get catfish, crappie, bass, shit like that down there." I started talking like Merle from Walking Dead. I was like, "Let me tell you about you throw in a nice dip, put on your beach, go out there, catch a few catfish, feed the family." I started talking. I don't get it. You know, it's not like I'm in like a pressure situation where it's like when you're around black people, you need to say like finna or whatever, like dap someone up, shit like that. It's like, no, this dude talks the exact same way as me. We're both from the fucking Midwest. But I was like, I put my boots on, I got down there, catch a few catfish. I don't know. It just instantly unlocks something in me. And I'm not like, I live in the country and all that shit, but I'm not like from like Tennessee or fucking like one of those backwards ass places. I'm from like the basically like the exurbs of Kansas City, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes from like the suburbs of Kansas City. I don't know why. I just started talking like that. I was like, "Yeah, let me tell you something. Back down in Kansas way, we don't do none of this dissection of shit, all right? You put your boots on, you just go down there, catch a catfish, rip its guts up, and skin it like that. It's just how we do it down there." And I like don't look like I have a country. Like I dress like a fucking third grade. I dress like a toddler, basically. All I wear is like basketball shorts and Crocs. Like that's how I dress. And I'm like, yeah. Back when I was a kid, my daddy used to just give me a cane pole and a worm and be like, "Come back with enough food to feed the family. And if I lost that worm, I just have to go in there and noodle them catfish myself. I tell you what, just how it went." I just started talking like that. I don't know what it was. I was like, this guy. I need to make this guy think I'm from the country. It's the only way. It's the only way. I don't know why. I don't even know the guy either. It's just very. Let me tell you something, Sonny. All right, if a toad can jump higher than a frog, then the goddamn Alabama Crimson Tide's gonna win the fucking Super Bowl this year. Let me tell you what. If a catfish can swim backwards and shit out of its ass, then you can slap your mama. I tell you what. It's just a little something we used to say down there, down Alabama way. If you can break a dog's leg and feed it to it, or hell, anyone can be president of this country. You know what I'm saying? Just how it's for some reason. I don't know why. I just turned into full country. Let me tell you something. But a lot of people are doing that now. Like, white people from the suburbs used to pretend to be black. Like, those were the fucking days. You know, occasionally you'd get, like, the Asian. You know, that started kind of to evolve towards, like, the late 90s up to, like, the 2000s. And it's still happening. And you still got, like, your classic wiggers and shit like that. But every white person from the suburbs now thinks they're in they think they're in Yellowstone, you know? They're like, their high school was, like, 10 minutes from a cornfield. And they're like, "Yep, let me tell you about what used to happen out on the ranch. All right, I grew up on a ranch, basically. Grew up on about a half acre. We had a guard dog named Old Bill. Old Bill was our guard dog. It's a purebred French bulldog. It's a $10,000 dog. Yeah, let me tell you about Old Bill, this old guard dog we used to have. He mean some bitch. You know, anyone that walked up on the lawn used to grab him by the back of it. You know, he's from Riverside, California, talking like this. Yeah, about. You know, I think I could 10,000 heads of cattle. That ain't too much to me. I think you give me a horse, a damn lasso, you know, give me a gun and a good working dog. I think I could handle 10,000 heads of cattle by myself. It ain't that deep, you know. I've been birthing. I think I could birth about, you know, when the birthing season come around for the cattle, That's when shit gets real tough. That's how people from like the suburbs talk now. It's fucking crazy. It's all Kevin Costner's fault. Like, I know, and Kevin Costner, in fairness to him, it's not like he was like, this is like a psyop that he set up where he's like, I'm going to pretend to be country. He fully believes that he's from Wyoming. It's incredible. I looked it up. He's from Compton. He was born like back when Compton was like a rich white suburb of Los Angeles. Like that's where Kevin Costner's from, and he's like, I'm from Montana. Yeah, I basically grew up on a ranch in Montana, running around. My family, we didn't have much, but we had our hard scrabble piece of land, and we had our cattle, real tough cattle these were out there. He's from like a white picket fence house in the suburbs, like the most urbanized place in the entire country. The most, like, you might say the Northeast is more urbanized, but it doesn't have like the same like suburbs and like urban sprawl that Los Angeles does. And that's where Kevin Costner's from. He's literally from like the Tokyo. It's like the closest equivalent, just like masses of like 3-story tall buildings for just 100 fucking square miles or however big it is. Like that's where Kevin Costner's from, and he thinks he's from Wyoming. He owns a ranch that he doesn't work on, and he's like, yeah, let me tell you something. Like he has this one specific commercial that I've seen a few times. It's for like Green Mountain Coffee or whatever. He's like, and it's Kevin Costner in a cowboy hat and like a Calvin Klein, jean jacket or whatever, being like, this is the coffee I used to drink when I was out ranching cattle. Out in the days when we didn't have no trailer, no truck, nothing like that. It was just me, my horse, and my Green Mountain Coffee. Out on the range, lassoing cattle, giving birth. Sometimes a baby calf would die. And it's just life you got to deal with out on the range. It's like this coffee commercial that he has. He's from the suburbs. He's fully from like the most suburban place in the entire world. Like that, he's from like the original American suburbs. Like Compton, I think like Levittown, New York is one of the original suburbs. Like that's where he's from. And he's talking like he's from Idaho, He's talking like he grew up surrounded by like cults and compounds and shit like that out in like Idaho or like Montana or South Dakota or fucking whatever. It is very funny, and it's tough to see because I do love Wiggers. I love Wiggers so much. They're a great group. I used to be I used to be like a half Wigger. I had my one foot in, one foot out, and it was a fun time. And it's just tough to see that culture die. There's a few good Wiggers left. There's a few good ones left, but we need to start a breeding program or something to get them on track. And I'm not talking like there's still plenty of white trash left. There's still like the talent pool to create some good Wiggers. But I'm talking about like real, because like white trash is its whole separate thing. A white trash and a Wigger isn't the same thing. And this is how racist I am, that I'm breaking down the difference between white trash and Wiggers. And people get like weird when you say that. They're like, oh my God, you can't say that. No, don't say that. And we're talking about baseball today, so I am going to say Negro sooner or later. But Negro is definitely one of those ones, like that's more respectful, I think, than saying black. Like Negro is like, because black is just like, it's a race of people. It's like saying white, It's like white is just like a race. It's just like a color of person. But like, I think Negro specifically refers to like former slaves in like the New World. I think that's what the term Negro refers to. So I think that's more like an apt description of what it is. It's not like a slur or anything. It's just like the old word for it, right? It's like, I'm trying to think of the equivalent. Maybe like Oriental. Like Oriental is slightly offensive, and I'm sure Negro is slightly offensive. God damn it, dude. This is like I was saying about how like this is never gonna blow up. I just need the algorithm to give me a chance. The algorithm's gonna give me a chance, and this is gonna be the episode. Is me breaking down like the different racial terms in America, being like Oriental. They get mad at us when we call them Orientals. It's that big of a deal. Like that's what this is gonna be. I'm like a guy with his own AM radio station. Like that's what it's like at this point. Just me breaking down the differences. Let me tell you something. It's not that offensive. You're gonna get mad at me? It's just a word. You're gonna get mad at me about a word? That's what this is. But no, I think it's just like an old timey word for like a black American or like a former or even like a slave. And I did watch 12 Years a Slave last night, and I just don't watch the first part of that movie. Like to me, I get it. Like that's the story. Like this guy was like a free man up in, I think he's from Massachusetts or whatever, and then he like gets falsely imprisoned and he becomes a slave. Like that's the story of 12 Years a Slave, and he is a slave for 12 years. Spoiler alert. But like, I always skip past the first part of that movie because I think like the first part of it, I don't think it's just for like the storytelling aspect of it, of like telling the story of what happened to this guy. I don't even know if it's a true story, but like I think it's to like emphasize like the brutality of slavery, and it's like you could skip that whole first part and like watch the rest of the movie and come out with the same opinion about like how awful slavery was. Like it doesn't add anything to how brutal this was. Like it's all about like slaves getting like raped and whipped and shit like that. It's like I don't need to know that. It doesn't matter where he came from. It's I'm gonna take a controversial stand here. I don't think anyone needs to be I don't think we need slaves. Don't think people should be slaves. I don't need like that first part of the movie to like emphasize that point to me. But the guy they got to play, his name in the movie is Solomon. But like when he gets like falsely imprisoned and then falsely becomes a slave, I guess is the best way to put it. They change his name from Solomon to Pratt. But anyway, the guy who plays him, I think his name is Chiwetel Ejiofor, and he's like a Nigerian black guy from England. And like this guy's family, just like the way his face is, I can tell his family's rich. Right? It doesn't work. Like, and not even like the bone structure or whatever. Maybe the bone structure to a point, but like the way he holds his face. Like this guy comes from a family that's like slavery. We would never like shit like that, like slavery. We're gonna make a movie about like our slaves. Is that what we're gonna talk about in this movie? We're gonna talk about the slaves that my family has, right? Like that's the type of face this guy has. Like he has like this constant look of disgust at like having to see poor people. Like that's the look he has on his face the entire time. But that movie is like the ultimate, like the embodiment of like that kind of like woke movement from back then, because it's just like white saviors and like black people suffering. Like he doesn't like work his way out or like come up with some genius plan to escape slavery. It's not like Harriet Tubman where he's just like this brave guy who in like spite of everything was able to escape slavery. It's like, no, he just meets like a really nice white guy that like it's like, okay, yeah, I'll help you out. But it is like the embodiment of like that, what they call like the white savior, whatever the fuck. Brad Pitt just comes in and he's like, I don't think slavery is no good at all. I'll tell you what, I disagree. I'm going to take a controversial stand here and I'll say slavery is bad. And it's like plenty of people, like especially like Germans, like the Amish were like completely opposed to slavery. Like a lot of those people, it was really only like the Anglos and the Jews that were like chill with slavery. It was just like two groups of people. Like the majority of people in America at that time, especially in the North, were like, no slave, like, no, I'm not going to approve of that. And that is a movie. I did watch it high. I was a little high last night, and I decided to watch that movie. And you'd think watching that movie high, you'd be crying or something like that, because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe people lived like that. I was like, no, this movie is, I was just thinking about like what I would do if I owned slaves, because I definitely would. I'm sick and tired of people pretending like they wouldn't own slaves. Like, oh, I can just buy a person and have him do literally every piece of work for me. I don't have to ever work again. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. But I was just thinking about owning slaves and just having to like explain to them, being like, look, dude, I know you guys should be free, but also I hate working. I just hate it so much that you guys are gonna do all that for me. I'm not gonna whip you. If you try to escape, I'm gonna get after you a little bit. Like, guys, just like chill the fuck out. I'll let you fucking like do whatever you need to do, you know, I'll give you a little bit of money, let you have some fun. Just being like that, like I'm a slave owner, but like I'm a chill slave owner. Just like that type of like, I don't know, like whatever retarded thought that is. Of just being like, guys, you're really trying to escape again. Just being like that type of slave owner, like a cool teacher type of slave owner. Like, I get it, guys. You know, I know what it means. I know what it's like to struggle like this. And in the movie is also, there's this other part in the movie that's so fucking funny. So when Solomon, a.k.a. Pratt, is like getting sold to like be this one guy's slave, it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's buying Solomon, and he's buying this other one named Eliza, who's another one of the slaves, and Eliza has 2 kids. And the funniest fucking thing, so he's like, all right, I'm going to buy Solomon, and I'm going to buy Eliza, and Eliza's like, no, you can't buy me, you have to buy my kids too, please, just buy me and my kids, for the love of God, buy me and my kids. And she's like crying and shit. And the guy who's like selling the slaves is like, no, I'm not going to sell the kids too. Like the boy, I already sold him. And the girl, he says some crazy, he calls it, the word nappy is used. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna get too into detail. I've already talked a little bit too much, so I'm not gonna get too into detail. But he's like, no, I'm not gonna sell you the kids. So he's like, Benedict Cumberbatch is like, please, just let me buy the kids too. I want to keep my slaves happy. Just like just like shit like that. And then he's like, no, I'm not gonna sell you the kids. And so they start like ripping the kids away from this lady, and she's like, no, no, stop taking my kids, stop taking my kids. And then like the whole point of this is like the thing I was joking about being like a chill slave owner or like a good slave owner or whatever. Like that's Benedict Cumberbatch's character in this movie. Is he's like the chill, the fun slave owner. And so, but like during the scene, it's supposed to show that he's like moral or something like that. But like while they're ripping the kids away from this chick, he just like looks down at the ground and he's like shaking his head like, this is no good at all. This is no good. Can you believe this? Can you believe this barbarity? And it's like, just don't buy slaves then. It's like trying to paint him as like this moral good character, and he's like buying slaves at the same time. And they do get into that a little bit of being like, even like a moral slave owner still isn't like a inherent like a good person like that. Like he still knows what he's doing is wrong. Like they get into that a little bit, but like this scene is supposed to paint him as a good guy and just be like, just don't buy the slave. If you're that opposed to like the system that's working here, just don't get them. And there's like another point in the movie where Paul Dano's in this movie, and he's so funny. He's so fucking funny in this movie. But where like Solomon, who's like the smart guy that was like falsely imprisoned and became a slave, he has like some idea to help the farm that they're working on work more efficiently. And Benedict Cumberbatch is like, you're so smart. You're such a good man. And it's like supposed to be him showing this guy respect. And it's like, no, he owns the guy. It doesn't matter how much respect he shows him or how much like of his intelligence or like his humanity that he acknowledges. He's still a slave. Like he still owns this guy. He's just as shitty as everyone. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I get like, don't let the good become the enemy of the, or don't let the perfect become the enemy of the good. But it's still like, I wouldn't say like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be a perfect person to not own slaves. It's what I'm saying basically. And it's just so funny that the movie does that. It's like I said, it's like that dumb like early wokeness just condensed into one single movie, and it's so funny. But yeah, no, it is a really good movie overall though. Chiwetel Ejiofor, as much as he does have like that rich high class face, he is a really good actor. And I think that should bring us to our topic today. I don't even know why I do. I'm just eating my shit at this point. I do want to start stand-up at some point. And I have wrote a few bits. I've wrote a few bits for stand-up, but I'll probably never do it and live my life in regret. Fuck it. We ball, dude. I live in America, don't I? That's the whole point of this thing, is to chase your dreams, and not in like a complete way where you're just like completely grinding and shit. Just like kind of chase your dreams and then just give up on it completely and live a miserable life. That's the ethos of this country. And another piece of the ethos of this country is baseball. And I didn't know this about baseball, so we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna have some terms. All right, I got some terms I need you guys to learn. So the batting team and the fielding team, I thought it was like infield versus outfield or whatever. I guess it's batting versus fielding. And so that's the batting team is obviously the one swinging the stick, and then the fielding team is the one catching it. You got your catchers and your receivers and shit like that. And every thrown/pitched ball is the start of a play. I didn't know that either. I didn't know they had play. Like I've heard like the term double play where they like get two people out, like I guess in a single hit or whatever. I've heard that before. But there's no plays, like there's no strategy to baseball. Like that movie Moneyball or whatever, that's not even about like the strategy within the game itself. It's about like the strategy of what players do you buy. It's like that's what that game is about. It's like baseball, the game, is so fucking boring that when they made the best movie about it, the best movie about baseball is Moneyball. When they made the movie about it, they didn't even make it about the game. They made it about what's the best way to get players on your team. That's how fucking boring it is. The only interesting thing of baseball I've ever seen is that the one part in the Sandlot where the guy's running back. That's the only interesting thing baseball has ever produced. And the thing about baseball is, I didn't write this down, but like the peak of its attendance was in like the late 80s or whatever. Like, dude, that fucking must have sucked for like NFL players and shit. It's like during like the eight ladies, the late hey, I don't mind 8 ladies either, I'll tell you what. But during the late 80s, when like, or like even like in the 70s, baseball was like infinitely more popular than football. When dudes were just wearing like soft helmets and just smacking the fuck out of each other. Like Jack Tatum. Jack Tatum, his nickname was the Assassin, and look up a picture of this guy. He's a black dude, and his hair is the most. It looks like he's never like usually like black, football players now especially like they got like the perfect braids and shit, or they always wear a do rag so they're like their waves are perfect. Not Jack Tatum, dude. And like even like the white guys, they do that. Like Travis Kelce with his fucking fade or whatever. Look up Jack Lambert. All right, that's what we need back in football. Just a receding hairline psychopath willing to kill someone. A little bit racist, but not like fully racist. Just like generally hatred towards the world. Like that's what we need back in football. And that's what Jack Tatum had. He's like this black dude with like this insane, like patchy, uneven afro. And his nickname was the Assassin, and he paralyzed the guy on the field. And people were still watching baseball over that. What the fuck is that bullshit, all right? Jack Tatum paralyzed. There was dudes dying on the field still in like the 70s and 60s and shit like that. And people were watching fucking baseball. It's a shame. It's a shame. The prime of football, like the entertaining like look, seeing a dude get paralyzed, like that's a tough watch, but it's a fucking fun. It's an exhilarating watch too. Like roller coasters. I'm not the biggest roller coaster ride guy. I'm fucking scared of them. I hate heights, shit like that. But like you go on a roller coaster, whether you like it or not, it's fucking exciting. You know what I mean? And like that's what football was back then. It was just like this killing dudes, just taking fucking heads off, shit like that. You love to see it. And people are still like, all right, back to the baseball game. The score is 0-0. We're in the 17th inning, and we're going to keep on going. And there's fucking 50,000 people in the crowd. Like, when Jack Tatum paralyzed that dude, they probably got, like, a few claps. It was probably like, yep, it's very good, very good. And I do think part of it is that, like, baseball, you don't need to be as athletic for. So it was probably still a lot of white people at that time, like dominating baseball. So that's probably the other reason why it was so popular. And I don't know if Jack Tatum paralyzed a white dude or a black dude, but back in the 70s, like they had just been given rights. Like black people just got like the right to own a house or whatever, shit like that. So soon Jack Tatum paralyzed a white dude. That probably delayed the popularity of the NFL by a few years. But what else about baseball? So baseball is descended of like from this game called Rounders, which was, I think it was like they said it was from Ireland, England, and shit like that. And it's basically just like a shitty version of softball. Like the ball it's literally like a softer ball. You throw it underhand to pitch it. The bat is just like, it's not even like a full length stick. It's like a fucking like one of those sticks that like cops use to like beat Rodney King. Like that's the fucking bat they're using for Rounders. And it is basically just baseball, but like with a shitty ball, and you throw it underhand and shit like that. And so that's what it was called. And then the first official game of baseball, or like the first recorded official game, was played on June 4th, 1838 in Beachville, Ontario, which is Canada. So that's why I've never liked baseball. I could just sense it. I was like, this is a game based off an English game. It's from fucking Canada. The first ever game was played. It wasn't even played in fucking America, dude. Like the capitalist, and it's like, that's the other thing, is that like maybe it could have reached Canada first, but like the first official like professional game should have taken place in America. You know what I mean? Like just the capitalist spirit of America should have consumed it and been like, how can I make money off of this? There needs to be a way. Not like the fucking bullshit like fake socialist spirit of Canada, just being like, I hope everybody has fun. I hope this is a fun game for everybody. No, dude. You need that American spirit in there being like that we need to make money off this, turn this into a giant fucking circus. So that does kind of piss me off a little bit. But Beachville, and also Beachville, Ontario, I'm pretty sure Ontario is a fucking landlocked state. So the beach is on one of the Great Lakes, which is the shittiest place in the country. And speaking of the Great Lakes, so during like the fish dissection today, you could dissect a perch, which is just like it's like a bass or whatever, and then the other one is a lamprey. And if you don't know what a lamprey is, it's basically an eel, but it has its mouth, and it doesn't have jaws on its mouth, so it's just like this open mouth that's just filled with teeth. And these fucking like these chicks across from like me and the guy that were like dissecting this perch together, they were like they were like torturing this thing, and this was a big fucking fish. And the reason I'm talking about this is because like they're invasive in the Great Lakes. But it's like this huge fucking like thick thing that they're cutting into, dude. It was fucking hilarious. It was very fun to watch them cut. And when they were like cutting it open, it's basically just a solid tube. Like that's what it is. It's like it's not like a regular fish where it has its tail and like shit like that. It's just like a tube of like meat and eggs. Like it's a disgusting fucking creature. But like when they were cutting it up, because it's a tube, they were like cutting it into like sections, like a salami, but like not as the slices were obviously a lot thicker, but they were cutting this thing up, and I was like, you could rearrange that thing however you want. You could put that thing back together however, dude. You could flip it around, put the head in the middle of it because it's all the same. I don't know. That was a thought I had. None of the thoughts I have are good though. So, I don't know. But the modern rules of baseball evolved from. God damn it, dude. I've been talking about slavery way too much. Knickerbocker rules, which a Knickerbocker is like, and this is where the name the New York Knicks come from. Like it was originally called the New York Knickerbockers, but obviously Bill Russell entered the league and they were like, all right, we got to change. We can't fucking this gigantic black dude that's scoring 70 points a game. Yeah, we'll change our name to the Knicks. We'll go with that. So that's where this name comes from. But they were called the Knickerbocker Code, and that's where the original rules of baseball came from. And obviously, rule number 1, no blacks. So that's where these rules of baseball come from. And softball, fun fact, was originally invented as the winter version of baseball. I don't know why, but I guess it was invented as the winter version. Maybe it's because it's like when you throw it underhand, like that puts less stress on your body and shit like that. And the ball's not moving as fast. You don't have to like run as far out into the field to catch it. So I think that's probably where it came from. It just puts less strain on your body, so you can still like kind of practice baseball in the off season without putting too much strain on your body. But this was also like the 1930s when they were just like, you don't need water. Water's for the weak. All right, get back out there on the field. We gotta beat this Negro League. There it is. There's my one. There's my one for this episode. But yeah, I don't know why they came up with that, because it's definitely not the stress on the body. Like they don't care about that at all. Like these guys were like 50 years old playing the game still. Like it wasn't like an athletic game like it is now. I don't even think it is an athletic. I'm going to say it's not an athletic game now. All right. Bo Jackson, he fucking got injured in football, couldn't come back because it's an athletic game. Baseball isn't. That's why he kept playing baseball. But like I don't know why they did that, because these dudes were like 50 and they were batting like 250, which is an insane batting average. But anyway, the National American Leagues formed separately and joined forces in 1903. And so when white people join forces like that, especially when we're talking about national and American shit like that, you got to be scared. But that's when they joined forces. The 1920s saw a massive increase in rules that favored towards hitters. And this is like the time when they banned foreign substances on the ball, which, by the way, that includes everything, including spit. Like there used to be a thing called a spitball, like a pitch style you could throw where you'd like spit on the ball first and then you could throw it. And then they banned that in the 20s because it used to be like, dude, they were scoring like 40 fucking points a game and shit like that before they invented like the spitball and shit like that. And so they were like, all right, no one wants to watch someone throw a ball for fucking 3 hours straight. We got to change the rules so these guys can get some hits in. And now baseball's back to what it was before the 1920s. It's just a dude pitching for fucking 3 hours straight. And here's the most important fact of all of this. The first Dominican National Championship game was held in 1912. So that's the most important baseball fact. 1912, that's when shit really got started in the Dominican Republic. They didn't form their league, I believe, until 1955, but still. And that's the Dominican spirit of baseball. Just like, let's go out there. Hey, papi, we're going to go hit some balls, have a good old time, drink a few beers. That's like the Dominican spirit of it. Like, we don't need a league. They're working all day anyway. They're not working. They're at the fucking nightclub. Nightclub's collapsing on them. But that's when the Dominicans started getting active in it. And then the soccer team, Aston Villa, was the first baseball champions of Great Britain. And I guess, I don't know how this works, because I think in Spain, like there's like FC Madrid, which stands for Football Club Madrid, and it is a soccer team, but they also have a basketball team. So I think this might have been like it was like a offshoot, like a splinter cell. It's like if Aston Villa, the soccer team, is like Al Qaeda, then the baseball team is ISIS. I think that's how that works. But they were the first champions of Britain. And then this is another interesting fact about baseball that I don't think people consider. The strategies of baseball are not really heavily dictated by time. Like, they do have clocks now, but, like, historically, they don't care about the time on the clock at all, which is why it's such a boring fucking game. But anyway, that's all I got about baseball. Got very close to saying the N-word this episode. Didn't. I came out with, hey, I said slavery's bad, so what else can you ask from me? But I hope you guys have a good day, good week, good year, good life, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Peace.